Welcome back to round 6 of the Abstrakt Sales Academy. You know, I'm sure you're getting used to this. I get so fired up to have the opportunity to be with you every single round to talk to you about your success journey in your life. Now today we're going to do something really special. I mean really special. We're going to talk about the power of team. Because I have found times in my life when I've faced challenge and adversity, the times I've been knocked down questioning, how am I going to get up off that mat of life? It's been team members, mentors, coaches that have been there to help pick me up off that mat of life that have helped make the difference. And it's always a fitting time when we're 6 months in to having the opportunity to work together. You're halfway through the first year, the 12 rounds, to take a look at what changes can you make. And who's on your team? And are there more individuals you can leverage to in order to get to the next level? Now, as you achieve success in your life, as you sell more, as you develop, oftentimes we forget to slow down. We forget to actually take the time to appreciate, to have gratitude, and to take that pause and to celebrate the things that have been working. So what I would love everybody to do, even though we're just getting started in our time together, I want everybody to just hit the pause button. Literally hit the pause button on the video right now and just take a couple of moments and think about the things through the first 6 rounds of our work together. What has worked for you? What's working? What do you want to change? What level of appreciation do you have? What are the successes? Enjoy those successes and get ready, because with the power of team, we're going to talk about you taking it to the next level. So I hope that exercise worked well for you to analyze what you appreciate, what you're grateful for, what's working. Hit that pause button more often to take a step back and reflect on what's working and what might make the difference. Now, what I wanted to have the opportunity to do before we talk about the power of team is to talk about Navy SEALs. What can each of us learn about the Navy SEAL way of life? Now, in order to do that, to set the tone, I'm actually going to go. Now, it's a little bit of self-promotion, but you know what? I'm doing the self-promotion because of the lessons that are in it and a thank you for you. So many of you, I've heard great messages. I've had thank yous. I appreciate it so much. Individuals telling me that they've enjoyed the book. Leave Your Legacy, our latest book that came out in March, did hit CEO Read's top 25 business book bestseller list. So I thank you for your support of the book. And for those of you that have read the book, you know that one of the characters in the book is a Navy SEAL, Lieutenant J. Bobby Rehnquist. And I'm going to share 4 lessons from the book that can apply for you in your life on this next level of your journey, the second 6 rounds. Now, before I go there, I want to share the motivation, the inspiration for this character, J. Bobby Rehnquist, in the book. J. Bobby Rehnquist is actually based off of a dear friend of mine. Now, because of everything that's going on in the world today with ISIS and security issues, unfortunately, I can no longer tell you the name of the Navy SEAL that's a dear friend who the book is based off of. But that just speaks to how tough this world is these days and the threats that those families have when they put themselves in harm's way, surrendering to that bigger purpose. Now, what's pretty cool is that for those of you that have children, maybe this has happened to you. For those of you that one day want children, I promise you this will happen. J. Bobby Rehnquist, my friend, I met him at a school event for my kids. You know, you always hear that like fathers and moms from parents, from kids at school, you'll become friends with them. Well, this individual was my first friend through our children. Our boys used to go to school together. And as a result of how he has impacted me, learning from him the sacrifices he has made as a lieutenant commander Navy SEAL, it helps me connect to a deeper purpose, to challenge myself, to put things into perspective. That we may think it's tough, day to day in the sales world, we may lose a sale, we may have somebody say that they're not interested, but just like earlier on in our rounds, we talked about the power to reframe. We can use the SEALs to give us perspective of what real toughness looks like in life, what real challenge looks like in life. And these individuals hold weapons and put themselves in harm's way so we can even have the opportunity to pick up the telephone. So because he inspired me so much, because he challenges me in my heart to get to the next level, to not make excuses, he became a character in the book. And I want to share 4 lessons that he shares in the book before we get to these principles of team to help you on your journey. In the book, he talks about and he shares the important lessons, and he's actually a character in Own Your Success as well, which was the prerequisite to leave your legacy. Acting with courage and integrity. Number 1, identify the truth and act from there with courage and integrity. That may sound familiar from the first mental training tool from your Mental Toughness Playbook, Attaining Belief in Yourself. It's what is the truth about where you are. And keep in mind, we're 6 rounds in. So what is the truth about where you are? Are there any excuses that you're telling yourself? Are you settling? Is there more in you? Tap into what that truth looks like. And are there any changes that you want to make through this second 6 rounds to get to that next level? Number 2, teamwork. Ego is I, team is we. I can tell you the times I've been knocked down in my life, the championships I've won, the NCAA teams that I've had the blessing of working with that have won championships, the professional teams I've worked with that have won championships, the Fortune 500 companies that have won championships in their industries. They don't believe that it's all about the individual. They take a look at the importance of team and what they can learn and leverage through others in order to get to that next level. Number 3, appreciate all people and the selfless acts and sacrifices they make daily. Now let's think about this for a minute. That's a SEAL way of life. The sacrifices they make, appreciation, gratitude. That all stems to you. You considering what those words mean, and I'll read them one more time. Appreciate all people and the selfless acts and sacrifices they make daily. It's our opportunity to appreciate what those troops do. Maybe what your teammates do for you. Maybe what your family does for you. And how that connects to your purpose. Because with appreciation, selfless acts, and understanding the sacrifice and a deeper connection to your purpose, that's how you get to the next level. It's what's in your heart and where you want to go. The 4th principle, the SEAL model. The only easy day was yesterday. Think about that. The only easy day was yesterday. I think that one speaks for itself. So what are the lessons that you can take from those 4 principles? The Navy SEAL way of life. If you embrace them in your life, would they help you on your journey? I always share with my friend who inspired me to create the character J. Bobby Rehnquist, I say, you are one of the toughest dudes on the planet. The sacrifices he has made are incredible. Why has he made those sacrifices? Because he surrendered to a purpose that is bigger than him. Now you might be, right now, thinking to yourself, isn't this supposed to be sales training? It's a sales academy. Yeah, we'll talk about psychological sales triggers, we'll talk about phoning, and then we're back to all this purpose and thinking stuff. That's all we're going to talk about today. I'm not going to give you sales language today. Why? Because this is the difference. And reconnecting to your purpose, reconnecting to your vision, your goals from the beginning of the year, that's the difference. So many books I've written, so many things that I've studied, they are all based upon this principle of thinking. Your success to get to the next level, it's about what you think about. Your thinking gets you to the next level. The Navy SEALs, they think differently. They think about that 6 inches that's in front of their face and what they plan to do with it. So why do we spend so much time on purpose and vision? Because it's that 6 inches. It's what you choose to do every single day with those disciplines to pick up the phone, to eat right, to get your workouts in, to be the best that you can be that makes the difference. Why do SEALs choose that way of life? Because the purpose is so big. So what's your purpose? How often have you, and don't have a raise of hands if you're watching with colleagues, don't nod your head, how many of you could have connected to your purpose more often over these first 6 rounds? And what would happen if you connected to that purpose more often over the next 6 rounds? Now, I'll share with you, maybe some of you have watched some of our various videos, and I'm going to talk about my purpose for a second because I want to inspire you to think big enough that you won't stop fighting. My big goal, my big vision is to serve 1 billion people. Maybe you've heard me say it before. To serve 1 billion people, that keeps me fighting. Why? Because I know I can't do it alone. I need your help. There might be something I say that you share with a colleague who's not part of the opportunity to watch this academy. There might be something you share with a loved one to inspire them from something I've learned from somebody that you share with them. Through this academy. That's all part of the billion. I'm not planning on going at it alone. I need your help. That's why I bring this fire to you every single month, to go hit that billion. When I think of the billion, I keep fighting because of the fire, the motivation for you on your journey. Now, the way I look at it, the big vision, the way the story plays out, I always say I'll be 72 years old. I'll be sitting on a beach somewhere, sipping on a Budweiser. Remember, Abstrakt Marketing Group, myself, we're from St. Louis. So sipping a Budweiser, smoking a cigar. That's my big vice, cigars. Smoking a cigar. Enjoying my time on this island, and this little bird comes down from heaven, and this little bird gives a wink, and that bird is my mom being sent down from heaven to let me know we hit the billion. Now, my daughter, who's 5 years old, Kennedy Rose, she recently heard me sharing this story, and she says, "Daddy, birds don't have eyelids." And I thought, honey, don't ruin Daddy's story. This bird has eyelids. You see, that purpose keeps me fired up. That purpose keeps me motivated. If you watch these videos, sometimes you think, my goodness, this guy's fired up all the time. You're right, because that purpose is so big, I can't stop fighting. The Navy SEALs, the purpose is so significant that they are willing to put themselves in harm's way to hold a weapon to give us our opportunity. For the millions upon millions upon millions, for you, having never had the opportunity to meet you, these millions of people, they put themselves in harm's way because of a purpose that's bigger than them. They embrace the power of team, and they recognize that great things in life are accomplished through team, not by yourself. So I want to share these 3 principles of team that may help you on your journey personally, and they may help you on your journey professionally. But when we look at the rest of these 6 rounds as a whole for you, and don't trip on anything that's behind you through the first 6 rounds. When we look forward, and we look to the rest of your life, think of what more you can leverage, how you can count on others for you to achieve more. There are 3 proven principles of team that when applied, as I mentioned earlier, we've seen them play into national championships, professional championships, championships in boardrooms around the world. And they've led to growth, better communication, and resiliency in teams. So take a moment. Who's on your team? Who are the individuals you count on to help you get to that next level, personally and professionally? 3 common principles. The first one probably won't be a surprise to you, and you've heard me say this word over and over and over again. It's passion for the process. Passion for the process. So let's be selfish for a minute and just talk about you. Take a look at these first 6 rounds. If the first 6 rounds you've been rolling, you've been going to that next level, challenge yourself to identify the behaviors that have led to that success and what can you do to make yourself uncomfortable so that you can continue to grow. Because making ourselves uncomfortable speeds up that process of mental toughness. Challenge yourself to grow. Stay uncomfortable and you'll go to that next level. For those of you that maybe you feel there's room for improvement, forget about the areas where maybe you felt short thus far in our training. What I want you to focus on are the periods of time when you've been most successful since you started the process of going through this academy. What did those daily behaviors look like during those periods of time when you were most successful? You were driving success. You felt unbeatable. You know what I'm talking about because I know you've been there. This 6 months has not gone by without you getting into that zone. Once, twice, 3, 4 times. Maybe it lasted a week. Maybe it lasted a month. Maybe 3 months. But what did those behaviors look like? And now imagine this. For you to give all of yourself to the team, if you connected to your purpose more often, that purpose would drive those daily behaviors. And what if you drove those daily behaviors over and over and over and over and over again? What would happen to your success? And how much better would the team perform? Now, let me share an example. Now, obviously, you know I love Abstrakt Marketing Group. You love Abstrakt Marketing. You work with Abstrakt Marketing, potentially. So think about this. Abstrakt Marketing is an incredible company. If you haven't checked them out, you need to check out Abstrakt Marketing. I recently had the opportunity to work with their leadership team, and one of the conversations we had around passion for the process was that each department, each individual needs to own their piece of the process. Don't try to do somebody else's job. This is going to lead us right into principle 2. But part of the process is giving your very best to your responsibility to the team. If it's sales, it's sales. If it's design work, it's creative. Give your all to design and creative. But those on a design and creative team aren't going to pick up the phone and sell. Just like the individual selling shouldn't be designing websites. Own your piece of the process. Own it in connection to your purpose. And fight as hard as you can every single day, because at the end of the day, you have the opportunity to look into that mirror. And if you can look into that mirror and know that you've given it your very best, nobody can ever take that away from you. And if there are ever days where you feel like you've fallen short, here's a little question you can ask yourself. And maybe you've heard me say this before. What can I improve tomorrow based upon my performance today? Don't go to bed feeling like you're a failure or a loser. It's what can you do to improve tomorrow based upon your performance today. Attack the process. The most successful individuals in the world, they attack the process. They drive their daily disciplines. So focus on the period of time thus far through these first 6 rounds where you've been most successful. And I ask you the question, what would happen if you repeated those daily disciplines, those activities, over and over and over and over again? I'll give you the answer. You'd sell more. Now, the second principle of team, it's all about trust. These are proven principles. These have been put to the test. It's trust. What was I just talking about with the process? It's about trust, which means in the morning, in the evening, at night, whenever you're working, it's always trusting in your team, knowing that you believe in them and where you're going, and that your work will be enough. Do you trust each other? What does trust look like at its highest level? Let's go back to the Navy SEALs, because I can't find a better example for you. I think of stories I've heard from my friend, the lieutenant commander, who's now the character in the book. He gives the example. Imagine this. You're in Iraq or Afghanistan. There's a building that's been compromised by the enemy, and you have to enter that building to clear the threat. When you look at the building, you can see that the doors of the building have been blown off by IEDs, explosives. And you recognize that on the right-hand side, there's a wall laden with IEDs, explosives. On the left, laden with IEDs, explosives. Which means, as you enter that building, the only way to go in is through those doors that have been blown off. If you end up bumping the right or bumping the left, the whole building blows. How do you get in? Well, SEALs, when they go on missions, they have primary plans, secondary plans, tertiary plans. They plan, process. Why do I hammer so much on you about process? Because if it works for SEALs to follow through on the most complicated missions in the world, I know it can help you in your sales career. I know it can help you in your life. So, let's think about getting into this building. If the only way is through those doors, that means that SEAL team needs to line up one after another. Now, to get into that building, imagine this. The first individual enters that building, and as he enters that building, he can see out of the corner of his eye that the enemy is in the corner holding a weapon pointing at him. Compromised situation. A direct threat. Yet he knows his responsibility to the team behind him is not to take out the man in the corner. His responsibility is to clear the wall to his left to make sure that there are no threats there. Can you imagine? Now, the second individual through, the second man through on the SEAL team, he sees the same threat out of the corner of his eye. His responsibility to the team is this wall. It's not till the third individual makes it through those doors that that third individual, his responsibility, because the left has been cleared, the right has been cleared, is to take that threat, boom, and to protect his team. How much trust does that take? If Navy SEALs can have that level of trust, can't we trust that when we sell a product, the creative department is going to follow through on what they promised they would do for the team? And if we are falling short in our levels of trust, check our communication. How's your communication with the team? The way that that happens on a SEAL team is preparation, process, communication. That's where the trust comes from. Each man knows that the man in front of him, the man behind him, has done the work, has followed through on the process to complete the mission. And they communicate to make sure if something happens, we go from that primary plan to the secondary plan to the tertiary plan. It's planning, it's belief, and it's conviction in that purpose to keep going, to fight for that bigger purpose. Now, another SEAL story that's amazing that speaks to trust is when the SEALs went to take out bin Laden. They fly in, they take out bin Laden, and after that mission, that, keep in mind, what I just mentioned, primary, secondary, the primary plan didn't work. One chopper went down, they had to go to that secondary plan, and they followed through and they did the job. How? Trust and communication. Now, after they took out bin Laden, Barack Obama, the President of the United States of America, says, I have to know who took the shot. Who took the shot? Who took the shot? Barack Obama gets on Air Force One, flies overseas to meet this SEAL team that has followed through this mission to take out bin Laden. He walks into this room and the SEALs are all sitting around this table. And they're sitting around, and Barack Obama looks and he says, who took the shot? Who took the shot? Who took the shot? They all look at Barack Obama at the same time and they say, Mr. President, you can assume that we all took the shot. Now, what I believe happened with that answer, two things. Number one, each man sitting around that table recognized that not one individual was more important than another. Ego is I. Team is we. What are the current dynamics of your team? Is it the I or the we mentality? Because if it's good enough for the SEALs to protect us from the greatest threat this country has ever known, would it maybe work for you on your journey as you go to the next level of your success? Now, the second thing I believe happened with that answer is each one of those men, they were protecting each other with that answer. Now, the story's changed a little bit. Now we do know who took the shot. But at that point in time, it was important to protect each other because it would have compromised and added threats to each individual's family if it would have been announced or people would have known who took the shot. Not even the President of the United States had the opportunity to know. That's trust. What more can you do to trust your team, personally and professionally? Is there anything you can do to courageously communicate on a whole nother level, a deeper level of trust, to help you get to the next level? Passion for the process, trust. The third principle, you've heard me say it so many times. You've maybe read it in books. It comes out of the title of the book where I just shared about the SEALs. Leave your legacy. It's legacy. Greatest teams, greatest companies, greatest men, the greatest women that I've seen achieve high, high, high levels of success. They've surrendered to that purpose that's way bigger than them. It's about legacy. I had the opportunity to spend some time, and I'll spend more time this season, with the North Dakota State Bison, a football team that has won the last 4 straight national championships in football for the FCS. They've won the last 4, but in history, one of the top football programs of all time, and they've won 12 national championships. Why? Because the same principles from when they won their first championship have been passed from one generation to the next. One generation to the next. Right now, for you, there's probably so much you've learned from the company that you represent, or personally, that speaks to legacy. Legacy is about what you can take from those who have come before you, what you can learn that will speak to your success, that will help you. Because as it gets passed to that next generation, it's what you take, what you learn, what you hold in your hands. That's part of the story that you're writing of your legacy. Think about that level of significance. Because you hold that responsibility right now. People are watching your actions. They're watching how you live. They're watching how you work. And that's all part of the story that you're writing and the commitment you make to your team. And when everybody commits on a deeper level and that team has big vision of the impact they can have on others, it puts you in a significant position to pass that legacy on and to leave the world better than you found it. How important is legacy to you? I think in my life, I think about my mom when she battled amyloidosis. And she chose to reframe. She chose to focus on solutions rather than problems because her legacy was being a leader as a teacher and a mom. She's the greatest leader I've ever known. And my mother, even though she battled that disease, she remained positive. She stayed focused on those solutions, and she remained a leader of my brother and I. And on November 2nd, 1986, when amyloidosis took my mother's life, on that day, my mother took the pen that she was writing with in that journal and she passed it on to me to continue to write the story of her legacy. So today I pass that proverbial pen on to you, 6 rounds in, to keep writing that story, to stay connected to that bigger purpose and to recognize that that purpose, that discipline, that vision, where you want to go, will make the difference in how you commit every day. As a team, the bigger commitment to that bigger purpose will determine how much more significant that legacy will be and how the history of your company, the history of your family will continue. Passion for the process, trust, and legacy. Now let's take a minute and go back to you. Let's think for you. How have you applied in your time thus far this year? How have you applied the power of team to your success? If we were to take a look at your goals from the beginning of the year, what you wrote down your purpose was, or what you wanted to do personally, what you wanted to do professionally, are there individuals who could have helped you get to that next level? Are there individuals who have helped you, but you could have trusted more? Who is on your team moving forward? As you took that step back to hit that pause button, the appreciation levels, who do you appreciate that's on that team? How can you communicate to that individual to make that relationship that much stronger as you go to the next level? So here's a little homework, if you're open to it. I'm not really telling anybody what to do. I'm just saying what I've found highly successful people do is they evaluate their daily disciplines. They take the truth of where they are to understand where they want to go. How often have you reconnected back to your goals this year? How often have you reconnected back to your purpose? You know, your mental toughness playbook had those 6 intentional proven steps to guide you from purpose, belief, where you wanted to go, all the way down to what you do when you face challenge, the power to reframe, all the way down to the I am statements, the affirmations, what you tell yourself, all the way down to your prize fighter days, what you want to do personally, professionally, and in your service to others. Down to your legacy statement, your reminder of where you want to go daily, and that creating that environment of greatness. How often have you connected back to what you wanted? For those of you, as I mentioned, who are already in front of where you wanted to be, challenge yourself. Get uncomfortable to do more than you anticipated. Why stay content and say, I'm ahead, I'm feeling great? Make yourself uncomfortable. Challenge yourself. You'll grow more. For those of you that maybe feel like you're a little bit behind, what if you went back more intentionally to all of the things we've already covered? Remember, don't worry if you haven't done it. Don't be down on yourself if you haven't done it. But I'm saying don't make excuses. Don't settle. What would happen if you embraced that Navy SEAL way of life? You just do what has to be done for the sake of the team and purpose in order to complete the mission, to execute the plan. What would happen if you looked more often at those goals? I'll tell you what would happen. Your intentions, the daily disciplines, would be more significant. The very best people, from Hall of Famers that I've worked with, all pros that I've worked with, people that have been recognized and received awards for their commitment to business and the world, those individuals, they drive their daily disciplines. They're open to being coached. And you know what they do? They just try to get a little bit better every single day. Don't be content. Challenge yourself. What have we talked about today? A Navy SEAL way of life, a Navy SEAL mindset. What if you embrace that for you going forward? Just like my dear friend that inspired me to create J. Bobby Rehnquist, the character. I know that character will inspire you. What more can you do with your teams? And what will that mean to your success as you write the story of your legacy? Keep fighting. Keep believing in you. Keep that fire lit. And you know it goes without saying, I can't wait to be back with you for round 7. Why not you and why not now? Keep attacking the process. No excuses. Go do great things.